Action. All right, this is the first semifinal. This is the 1 seed YurickYu versus the 4 seed Slepher. This, unfortunately for YurickYu, is not a keep. This is probably a keep, but it's not great. Only one single unit.
Well, I mean, Shakedown is going to be at its finest in this deck. Probably going to try to take out the Frontier G2 if they have the chance. That's going to be a big play in tempo. If they're able to stop them from having charge units every turn, that could give them the time they need. I mean, obviously, Argentport Instigator coming down at 3-3 is going to be able to block most things on the other side of the board, so...
YurickYu also going to have that champion on turn 3 here.
Sadly, well, it will be a 4-4 at least. We'll see if they draw. Oh, no, actually, never mind. It won't be a 4-4. Because they're going to have to play a Fire Sigil here if they want to.
Right. Because this is going to come in depleted. That's right.
And, I mean, 6 power on the board already for Slepher. And YurickYu is... Ooh, okay.
Yeah, just going removal. They're going to have to play the control deck here. I think YurickYu is recognizing
yeah,
that
I don't hate that.
Too fast out of the gate. They're not going to be able to race that. So taking a step back, playing the control matchup here, using the removal spell.
You know what? They did Shakedown, so maybe they identified in Slepher's hand.
Yep.
Okay, I could see that.
Now being able to deploy the 4/4 blocker.
Yeah, and then so I would not be surprised if we see a torch here. Yeah, okay. So YurickYu identified that those down.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Heads up play on them.
Yep. Still behind, but managing Slepher's board a little bit. Another Pyro Knights can be tough.
They could go to the market here. They could go to the market, get the Edict of Shavka, and just do the 1 damage to the Pyro Knight, and then they still have a blocker for the 2/2s, or the 2/2 and the 2/3.
Yeah, they can do that. But they also drew a champion off the top, though, so that's going to present a good blocker as well. You know, YurickYu's deck not really set up to be on the defensive like this. They usually want to be the aggro deck, but playing out the best they can here. Not doing a poor job of playing defense as best as they can. See if they can keep it up, though, and stabilize. Slepher also only at 2 power.
The other note, too, is that Slepher's deck does not have any card advantage. So what they get is what they have. And so once they start running low on resources, there's sadly no way to come back from that. But once again, like, I mean, YurickYu's at 8, and Slepher's has 4 power on the board.
Flame Blast off the top. So they can play a unit and Flame Blast. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then if Slepher doesn't have... Actually, they don't even need to use the Flame Blast. They're going to use the Suffocate here. And now Slepher down to still only 2 power and down to 1 unit on the board. Is YurickYu stabilizing here at 8 health?
Yeah, and then YurickYu is going to have multiple ways of from this. The dropping the 3/3 Instigator, having the Galia list, the Shavka's Listener to draw a card and start getting in for 4. I think Slepher getting, I'm not really sure, I need to see it here, but maybe getting choked on power, not hitting that 3rd power might have threw their tempo off a little bit. It's hard to say.
Hard to say because they did play out essentially their entire hand. But yeah, that is true. And that is one of the drawbacks of the mono 1-drop deck, is that if your opponent is able to answer your 1-drops, then like you said, you don't really have any card advantage or anything coming up behind it. Except for maybe some emblems, and that is part of the reason emblems have been so good, is to be able to provide you a little bit of built-in card advantage here. All right, going wide though is interesting. YurickYu, a Flame Blast on a Grenadin. That's not something you see every day. But
yeah, I mean, they're at 8. They can't. There's only Suffocate's gonna take it out. Slepher's gonna get. They're gonna take 1 off that. They're gonna get him for 2. So YurickYu's down to 5.
Down to 5. Let's see if they can get some lifesteal off of this Incarnus.
It has to be Incarnus here. Yeah.
Can they get something lifesteal off of this? That would be great. Lifesteal attachment, or there you go. Spiteful Strike. All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
if it survives. Oh, but it doesn't survive.
Oh, nope. They're still fine. They're still fine because the Shavka Listener has charge.
This is gonna go put him to 2. Okay.
He has to spiteful strike here.
Well, do you do it on defense would be the only question because you can block.
Yeah.
I think you don't attack. I think you hold back
Yes.
and then you
You're
block with
correct
spiteful
because
strike.
yep. That way you can take out the charge. Yeah, I think they have to wait here. Yeah, sure enough, they see the same line.
Yep. There you go. And now you'll still gain the life and you'll take out a unit in the process. Nice.
Yep, and keep your guy. Okay. Okay.
You see the cards off the listeners strike again.
I mean, it could have easily backfired though if Slepher had drawn a torch or something off the top there. So it was risky. All right, I think now YurickYu is somewhat safe. Yeah, I don't think I would have attacked it.
It's still one removal away from being in bad shape, but yeah, there you go. The shakedown, okay.
Instigator comes down. Yep.
Now you're in some interesting decisions, though. You know, you have Instigator. If any of your units die, you start taking damage.
I mean, you have to eventually start attacking. You're at 6. You can't just sit there and let them keep the threats, you know?
For sure. All these little damage, though. You got to be careful with the Instigator and the Nightfall and the Emblem.
Does Slepher have Flame Blast? I don't think so.
You're going to play out the Emblem, go to 5.
I mean, I'm sweating for him.
Right, there you go. There's another Incarnus. Get another lifesteal off of that.
Yeah, and then there you have it. It's just a little bit shy of reach, you know. Oh yeah.
That's pretty. Nice.
Okay.
It's not lifesteal, but that'll help though.
Yeah, for a second I thought it was the 2/2 lifesteal one.
That would be amazing. But can YurickYu start attacking now with the 4/4?
The thing is, YurickYu's showing respect for Bandit Queen. I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah. I mean, YurickYu's board is so much more powerful than what's on Slepher's side, but that doesn't really matter at this point. All it takes is a Bandit Queen or a Burn Spell or anything to just end the game. So YurickYu has to be super careful. But it's a tough balance, right? Because you have to be super careful to not die, but you also can't at the same time play to not lose. You have to be dealing damage and trying to kill Slepher at the same time, because if you just sit back forever, you're going to give them more outs.
You're going to draw into that spot. Yeah, exactly.
So
good call on YurickYu. Bottoming that Rista, not being a blocker, is really important here. So they bottom it. Sadly, they draw power. I don't think that unlocks anything. Well, yeah, and never mind. It's that. Yeah, there they go.
The Flame Blast will be enough. And there's a Flame Blast. Yep, turning it around. Well played by YurickYu. Incredible to stabilize.
So close. It really was that turn where they landed the Shotgun Listener and didn't attack. If they were able, if there was any kind of removal on Slepher's side, then that would have been game. But that was super clutch. And that's what happens sometimes with the slide decks.
Yeah. Well, and how many times have we seen in these tournaments getting something off of one of these listeners just making the difference in the game? And sometimes there's a little bit of variance in it, and there's a little bit of luck implemented, which it's not always great. But just the ability to the choice and the ability to add an extra card that just gives decks that might have that dynamic, like in that deck, there's not a lot of built-in lifesteal in YurickYu's deck. That's not what the deck is built around. He doesn't have access to that, but just being able to access lifesteal or something else from the listeners to be able to give you that extra for attack on a different angle or give you that crucial lifesteal just gives you a lot of flexibility that makes the matchups just super interesting.
Oh, yes, indefinitely. Yeah, so the only reach that we're seeing is Torch. So, yeah, they're practically mono 1-drops here. We have Rally, and that's it. Rally and Bandit Queen the way to get... Oh, and they're only running 2 Bandit Queens. Interesting. I did not realize that. I think I would still run the full complement. I don't know.
I guess it's a little expensive. If you're doing a mono 1-drop deck, I guess it's a little expensive, but...
Yeah, but Bandit Queen's never bad. If the first one doesn't get you, the second one sure as heck will.
All right, YurickYu keeping a relatively expensive hand here. They've got a Dark Return, a Rista, and 2 Champion of Chaos, and then seeing another Rista on top. I think 4 3-drops might be too many. No, they're going to keep it on top.
Power's a little awkward. Well, not necessarily. I guess they just won't do.
Yeah, with no 2-drop, the Sigil's actually not going to burn you here.
I mean, still though, this is the window where Slepher can come on. able to deploy enough threats before a champion can come down, they could get underneath the strategy. I mean, two Ristas. Ristas does not block.
Rista does not block. That's an interesting key. I mean, YurickYu's got to think that they're on the play. They're able to drop these 3 drops in the champions. They're able to get some early blockers. They're not going to be dead. Having those Ristas be able to turn the game later is gonna make a big difference here.
Now that being said, though, it just double champion at a 5/5.
Yeah.
It's
double 5/5 champions really hard to beat, especially for Slepher's deck, as we talked about. Just doesn't have a lot of ways to deal with a 5/5.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to 2-for-1 themselves, and we already talked about there's no.
Yep.
So, if you're holding the board to go for the rally game, typically when your opponent's 12 or less life, YurickYu's still at 22. Yeah, we're seeing the go wide strategy go off here. Ooh, go super wide. All right.
So there's the Rista. Did also draw a Suffocate, but it's also going to grab the Shadow Sigil.
Yeah, would not be surprised to see that Suffocate take out the 1/1 charge, just to make sure that there's no other surprises. Slepher is at 4 power though, so Bandit Queen is a thing. Okay, all right.
Okay,
going
take
for
out the Ronin.
Okay, YurickYu being very patient with the attacks.
One Bandit Queen is definitely not going to be enough, but if you can play some units and then double up a Bandit Queen, or get some damage in this way and then rally and then follow up with a Bandit Queen, you might be able to swing 2 in a row here and make it work. So there's a rally. Now what I want to know is, can they follow up with another rally or a Bandit Queen? Because that would be big game if they could do that.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, my God.
Never mind. I spoke incorrectly. That was a lot more damage than I counted. I did not do the math there. YurickYu all the way down to 1 with that rally attack. They had a lot more units there than I counted. So my mistake on that. And the Rista, I guess, not blocking there is also a big game.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Kudos to Slepher. We thought YurickYu was stabilizing, and sure enough, they just went wide. They had assembly and then 2 drones. Man, that.
Well, for those of you in the chat that can do math, maybe that wasn't as surprising to you, but it definitely caught us off guard with how powerful that rally was there. Slepher turning that around real quick, being able to punish YurickYu very early, going super wide. We're seeing the writing on the wall that they could go wide against those units, and the risk of not being able to block and having that rally push through just enough damage to just put YurickYu dead there.
Yeah, and of note, once again, we saw the price for paying Rista. YurickYu wanted to get the next power drop, which is completely respectable, but then you took a turn off from developing your board essentially against the deck that wants to go wide.
Yeah, in this matchup, it's interesting because in this matchup, I would almost argue that Rista's it doesn't really do what YurickYu wants it to do, right? It's not going to be a game-ending play. You're not going to be fast enough out of the gates where Rista attacking is going to do anything. It helps the power, that's for sure. It helps you draw the power, but not being able to block is a huge liability in this matchup.
All right, YurickYu shipping their first hand, keeping their second. They're going to keep a hand with Stone Star Insignia, 2 Stone Scar banners, the Argentborn Instigator, Rista, Incarnus, and Black Hall War Leader. So 2 drops and then a decent 4. Obviously, the 3 we're not excited about, but they might still have to play it. We'll see how aggressive Slepher can go here. Of note, Slepher is on the draw. So already getting roadblocked here.
Perfect influence again for YurickYu. That's 2 games in a row where they've had the triple perfect influence. So pretty nice there. Now they don't have any champions in hand this time, but that pretty nice there to not have to worry about it. Being able to play both your triple influence listeners without having to worry about the power.
Sure enough, we see the value of a blocker. So Instigator coming down, not rather play something that can block versus Rista, especially having the 4th power. I could see if they didn't hit their 4th power, they probably would have maybe considered Rista, but here we go. Super wide.
Yeah, super wide again. Do they have a Bandit Queen or a rally? We learned last time how much damage that can really push through.
Yeah, it would be nice to have probably Torch here as well to clear a blocker out of the way at the end of your turn.
And you note last turn, Interestingly, not using all 3 power, recognizing that Rista is just not going to do it on this board, playing out a 2-drop instead of their 3-drop, which you don't often see, intentionally playing out your 2-drop instead of your 3-drop in most decks, but having to do it here because the Rista, again, is just a liability in this matchup.
I'm actually a little surprised at the fact that they took out the Instigator, it being the better blocker than the War Leader. The Instigator will do damage to YurickYu.
Yeah.
And I think long and short of it, Slepher's gonna need. Oh wow.
Okay.
Oof.
Was that?
That it's interesting, but it could potentially be a nail in the coffin.
That's interesting. That's a lot of life, though. Might not be enough, though. I don't know if you can take a turn off to play that, but it might be enough life. All right, Slepher does not have the way to push through now, though, so that's a good sign for YurickYu. Slepher, that was their turn. That was their turn to turn things around and kind of put the pressure back on YurickYu, but they were not able to. So now YurickYu can basically take a full turn here to stabilize.
Yeah, like I could see maybe Arcane, like so Vara Sanctum would be extremely strong, but it just Slepher's not trading here. Slepher's just gonna take the damage, use their life as a resource, keep trying to get in damage to YurickYu. So and there's the Bandit Queen. So here's a big
power.
turn.
That's what it was. They needed to hit the 4th power, get to the Bandit Queen, and here comes a lot of damage.
And luckily, Slepher's not even going to lose anything of relevance. They're going to lose 2 Grenadins, and everything else is going to get through just about. Oh man! So let's see what the follow-up play is. See, of note, if they had taken out the Instigator, they would have done an additional 2 damage here. Well, additional. Oh no, never mind. No, they wouldn't have done any. Never mind. 1. They would have done an additional 1 damage here, or 2 because they would have killed the War Leader, and that would have triggered the Instigator. All right. Hey. All right. So wait a minute. Let's see. They don't have another blocker.
12.
They can kill the 4/2 using casualties of the cause. That's good, and then they could block 2 and 2, so that means, or 3 and 2, so that means 6 is gonna come across, take them down to 6.
Yeah, they can. And then if this Vara Sanctum sticks after that,
ooh, I think they're gonna hold here and try to pump up Pyro Knight next turn. Okay, fair.
Good attack here. Yep, gotta make the block. Good attack.
See, the only problem is they don't realize. Oh no, it's never gonna come online. Because they're not going to block Rista.
Well.
And Rista can't stay back to block. Oh, but I guess
you can turn... You can also go on the aggressive here. Trade off your last guy.
Oh, man.
That's a good
trade. All right. I think that might be a coffin. Okay. All right. I stand corrected.
Back and forth here. That's wide again. Yeah. And the Vara Sanctum not doing anything on this board. Not going to do anything for a while. I don't think Slepher can block here. I think
no, not yet. You got to you're on the clock here. And you have to play.
It's 2 units. You have to throw away 2 units to block this.
You have to go high risk, high reward here.
Yeah, there's no way you can take that. There's no way you can block.
I mean, they have some outs. They have some outs. Another
Bandit Queen or Rally might just do it. Yeah. I think it would. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. So let me see. So they block the 2s. Then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus.
Yeah, you've got at least 4 units getting through plus 3 at least for each. So that's 12 right there.
They're thinking. There's a pause. Man, the 1 pump on that champion makes it to where now none of self-removal gets that thing off the board.
Yep. Okay. Now you got to be careful now because that Incarnus... Oof. All right. Now the Incarnus can deal 3 unblockable, which puts Slepher at 5, and you've got the 6/6 deadly overwhelm. So you'd have to put...
Oh.
So now you have to put at least... Oh, they're not attacking with Incarnus, though. Okay.
Yeah.
So technically you could chump the Rista with a Grenadin if you wanted to, but then you'd be dead next turn.
Interesting that they're opting to trade with the Rista. I think I still would have just chump blocked. Oh, man. Okay. They're trying to mitigate as much damage as possible here now.
Well, I think the decision point here is: do you leave
I,
yourself? Do you
I
leave
think
yourself dead to Incarnus next turn? Because you either take the
Yeah.
damage and go to 1 and say I'm going to win next turn.
So interesting play here though that they did not block with the Bloodseeker to stop the 1 damage.
Yeah,
to
and now you're
itself.
going to take the 1 and go to Incarnus. Yeah, now you are dead
Well,
to Incarnus.
okay. Wait a minute. There's 9 cards in the void. When does she trigger? She triggers off of 10. So maybe they were trying to do that. I'm not really sure. I think I would have probably sacked the Bloodseeker here. Oh.
No, it's not enough though.
This could block the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ugh.
No.
Yep.
Not enough. And actually, that wouldn't even be good. Even in that situation, YurickYu throws away the 2/2, and then the Vara Sanctum gives the Vara.
Oh yeah, and they see the Vara Sanctum.
Yeah.
They're still gonna do it. Oh. No.
Well, I think I guess they're not dead. No, you can't. I guess you're not dead on the backswing though, so I don't think you can attack here. I think you survive another
because it has
turn.
Deadly and Overwhelm. It'll get if he'll just block with the Pyro Mage, and then get the +3 and lifesteal on the champion.
Well, I'm saying if you don't attack with anything.
Oh, okay, I got you. I'm sorry.
Maybe you're still dead. If you don't attack with anything, you still take. Well, you'd have to throw away your entire board. I guess you could survive, but you'd just be dead the next turn. Yeah.
Yeah, they needed 1 more turn. Or 1 more big attack. And it's so awkward sitting at 5 power because it's more than this deck wants, but it's also just 1 shy of ultimating the.
If you attack, you're dead for sure. You're dead on board. I think if you block, you give yourself 1 more turn, but you have to throw away your whole board. In which case,
Oh, never mind.
it doesn't matter.